皆さん、また来てくださってありがとうございます。そして、最近、いろんなお部屋から来てくださった方、ありがとうございます。とっても心強いです。私、ニューヨークでブルーステートなので、K さんにも勇気づけられてるんですけど、こうやって同じ気持ちの人がこれを見てくれるのはすごく嬉しいんです。どうもありがとうございます。ということで、今週のフォックスピックというよりは、トランプさんのビデオをもうすでに上げてると思うんですけど、これに対して今週木曜日、バイデンさんがニューヨークを訪れたんですね。で、これは、もう本当に今すごいことになってるんですね、ニューヨークの犯罪が。もう本当にひどいんですよ。それに関して、もう重い腰を上げて、なんとかするというためにいらっしゃったんですけれども、ぜひこのトランプさんとの違いを皆さんご確認ください。どうぞ。
He is ready to get tough on crime. The president meeting with Mayor Eric Adams while cities across the country see a surge in violence. But instead of going after the liberal policies being blamed for the spike, the president was very much laser focused on guns.
We want to crack down on the flow of firearms used to commit violence. That includes taking on and shutting down rogue gun dealers. It's about doing background checks. This doesn't violate anybody's Second Amendment right. There's no violation of a Second Amendment right. We talk like there's no amendment that's absolute. When the amendment was passed, it didn't say anybody can own a gun and any kind of gun and any kind of weapon. You couldn't buy a cannon.
And with Democrats facing backlash for defunding the police, President Biden is trying to reset that message.
The answer is not to abandon our streets. That's not the answer. We're not about defunding. We're about funding and providing the additional services you need beyond someone with a gun strapped to their shoulder. I don't hear many communities, no matter what their color, their background, saying, I don't want more protection in my community. I don't know. I haven't found one of those yet.
Sure. Greg, a lot of build up to today's visit. What did you think?
He's terrible, and I don't like to get hyperbolic, but he really is bad, and really, even on something as prepared as that, it's embarrassing to watch. On nearly every metric regarding law and order, the Dems have screwed the pooch. It's no wonder the White House dog is so miserable. It's infuriating, though. You see the Democrats swoop down to solve a catastrophe that they themselves created. Yeah. What they're resetting is the thing that they destroyed because they picked the wrong side. They obeyed the woke. They abandoned society and victims of crime. And now it took this display, the visual display of suffering, to get them to worry because they needed an optic. They needed something to go, oh, this could hurt me. And it shows you what the woke obsession replaced. The woke has said, oh, we're helping replace racism in society. No, you replace the spinal fortitude of the Democratic Party. That's what's missing. They lost the balls to go after criminals, right? They can't criminalize crime. They now look at victims as actual, well, everybody's a victim now. You're a victim of society. It's really depressing when you see, he didn't talk about the revolving door, no cash bail, the reduced sentencing. These are, or the policies that those widows succinctly described and condemned. He didn't even talk about gangs. Instead, they go after gun manufacturers as opposed to gunmen. The people getting pushed in front of subways were not shot. The people getting stabbed were not shot. So the conclusion is only Republicans can do this because they're the only people who understand incentives and disincentives, and they're not afraid of criminalizing crime. Democrats, they're done, emasculated, castrated. They allowed the woke to strip them of any kind of spine. It's over for them. They have to get the hell out of dealing with criminals.
Okay, Judge, you wanted us to play one thing.
You look at there are 22 American cities where homicides went up last year. 12 of those set crime records. A lot of those murders are drug-related. Why are we seeing an increase, a surge in drug-related crime? It's because the border crisis has produced not just a surge in illegal migrants, but a surge in illegal drugs. Last year, the amount of fentanyl crossing the border doubled. President Biden, one of his first things he did as president was to end Operation Legend, which was launched by the Trump Justice Department to send federal officers to help local law enforcement in major cities that were dealing with this crime surge. That Operation Legend was a huge success. It took hundreds of tons of fentanyl and cocaine and heroin off of the streets. He says he wants to crack down on illegal guns. It took over 2,600 illegal guns off the streets. He canceled it. See, so he...
With Operation Legend and with some of the other things that the former president had in place, that when this new president, now he's been here a year, came in, that he didn't just wipe away a couple of things that Trump had done. He got away with those most important things, like Title 42 down at the border, like many things that have, as Marsha Black, idea that we go forth with a president who comes to the nation's most populous city, he sits down, the liberal DA, Alvin Bragg, is not at the table. I didn't hear him mention, maybe he popped by his office some kind of way and we don't know about it. But those things now that are driving it, because when you have illegals, if you're letting your own criminals go, do you think they're going out? Because this is one of the first things that the new mayor of New York City did. And now a group of black voters is going after New York City's Board of Elections for what they call discriminatory intent. They say the new law allowing non-citizens to vote in local elections violates federal civil rights laws. Former Ohio Secretary of State Ken Blackwell, and member of the board which filed the lawsuit, tells Fox News they explicitly used race as a factor of demarking the voter groups they wanted to give this privilege to. And that is a direct violation of the 15th Amendment.
They're looking at what Biden is doing with the federal election effort to take over federal takeover elections, and they say, you're focused on the wrong thing. We've got 40-year high in inflation. We've got a record crime wave going on in American cities, the worst border crisis in American history, the worst pandemic in a century that's still upending our lives. Why are you focused, obsessed with changing our voting laws? The voting laws that, by the way, gave you the presidency and the Senate and the House. Why are you obsessed with this? It's because they are trying to solidify their power and put a lock on power and prevent Republicans from ever coming back. And so Americans think it's wrong on the face of it, and they're focused on the wrong things. Solve the problems that American people are dealing with every day, not create new problems.
I think it's the policies that we have in New York City where we're not enforcing keeping criminals in jail. I think we have like a revolving door right now, and that's what's scary. Right now I'm like a prisoner in my own home because I'm too afraid to come outside. I mean, we just had a woman recently thrown on the train in New York City. So I think we have such a big problem. I don't think it's guns. I think it's people, and I think it's the policy that these people are enforcing.
おかえりなさい。どうでしたか？バイデンさんのスピーチ。相変わらずの愚策でしたね。ということで、まあね、トランプさん乗っけてからこの人乗っけちゃうとちょっともうすごい差が出ちゃうんですけど、本当にやっぱり大統領としてその国民のことを考えてるっていうもちろん政策ではないし、その見えちゃうんですよね。その自分の政権のことだけ考えて全て国民が犠牲になっているっていうことで、この前も飛行機のもの乗っけたんですけど、本当にこの人がなぜ未だにこのポジションにいるのか私はちょっとわからないんですね。で、そして日本で放送されているのもいろんなところの教授やなんかが出て、トランプ悪しで叩きまくる。ニューヨークにあなた住んだことあるんですかっていうことを一言だけ言いたいんですね。なのでその本当に間違った情報を権威ある人たちが発信してるっていうのがすごく許せなくって、でやっぱり私のできることは生の実感としてのニューヨークに住んでいる人間として発信していけることなので、これからもどんどん頑張って発信していきたいと思います。また見てください。そしてもしこういうことを知りたいとか、こういうところでこういうことがあったっていうことがあれば書いてくだされば、私はいつでもそれを取りに行きますので、何でも言ってくださいね。ということでまた頑張ります。見てください。